Trojans of Bishop Chatard had beaten Northwood High School twice in state championship play, but in 2005, the third time was a charm for the Panthers. Rich Dodson and Northwood claimed the school's first state title, winning 7-0. Tonight, here at Jim Andrews Field in Napanee, the Bishop Chatard Trojans have come looking for revenge. They are ranked #1 in Class 3A, and they come to the water tower town known as Napanee to take on the 4th-ranked Northwood Panthers on this edition of the 46 Game of the Week. And how you doing, everybody? Between my Hall of Fame partners, Bo Hunt and Bill Beck, it's Chuck Freeby. Bob Nagel still fighting some health issues. He hopes to be back with us later in the season. The Bishop Chatard Trojans ranked #1 in Class 3A, and honestly, Bo, there are some people who think they're underrated. They have 3 All-State players on offense, and they fly to the football on defense.
They definitely do. They have a team that has offense, defense, special teams, you name it, they have it. They've been known for running the ball. Well, the last few years, Rob Doyle's got this team throwing it a little bit. Well, precisely about 50% of the time, and he likes to throw a little bit more. They're a very talented team.
And even as many great teams as Rob Doyle and Chatard have played, they say it's special to come here to Napanee tonight.
This is really a cool environment. We're very happy to be here. We've been excited about this game for some time. We know Northwood has a heck of a program. These kids they play on, you see them on film, they're a good football team. They're very well coached and great atmosphere. We're very pleased to be here.
So given the caliber of opponent, it's been a balancing act for Nate Andrews and his team this week. On the one hand, obviously Chatard deserves a ton of respect and you want to give it to them. On the other hand, you don't want to give them too much respect and come out here intimidated.
I think that's the biggest thing. When you come out here and you're a Northwood Panther, you cannot look across there and look, hey, that's Indianapolis Bishop Chatard over there. That's just another opponent, somebody else that we're going to play out there. I guarantee you Nate would love to be in uniform in a game tonight, in this game, but his players are, and they're learning, and they're getting better.
As it is, he has some keys to win for tonight's game.
Well, I think we have to control the ball as best we can. I think we're going to be satisfied with 3 yards, and we're okay with punting the ball too, as long as our net's okay. We can't get upset with big plays that happen and occur. We've got to have a short memory, and we've got to respond to sudden change.
The Hall of Fame sports writer and frequent 46 contributor Bill Beck has been exiled from the state of Texas for 1 week and returns to Indiana. And Bill, you have been at every Northwood Chatard game. And this rivalry, if you want to call it 3-game rivalry, has created a buzz in this community tonight, at least for the people up there. I don't know about the people over here.
Yeah, these guys were toddlers the last time these two teams met, and before that it was in the mid-90s and late 90s. So there's a lot of history to the moms and the dads and maybe the aunts and uncles and former players. These guys probably had to look up to see where Chatard even was before they've got them on the schedule. So historically, it looks good on paper. These kids shouldn't care about that at all, though.
3 times these schools have played for a state title. Tonight, it's just for bragging rights and a win in week 2 of the regular season. But it's still a big game, and we've got the Jordan Automotive keys to win next. As they tailgate in the parking lots, the Trojans have come to town. We'll tell you all about it next on 46.
This is the WHME TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week. Brought to you by South Bend Orthopedics, Teachers Credit Union, Bill's Heating, Jordan Automotive Group, IU South Bend, Electrical Workers Local 153, Crown Trophy, Imagineering Finishing Technologies, and the IHSAA.
And this edition of the TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week is being brought to you by the Jordan Automotive Group. Simple, easy, stress-free. Welcome, everybody, to the R. Yoder Construction pregame shows. We get you ready for this top 5 showdown. #1, Bishop Chatard. #4, Northwood. Time now to look at our keys to win, brought to you by the Jordan Auto Group. Boy, you could pick a lot of people for the Bishop Chatard Trojans on offense, but I think we should take a look at their junior All-State receiver, who's now a senior, Andrew Sawinski, 6 feet, 175 pounds, caught 4 balls for 83 yards last week. He had 53 catches for almost 1,000 yards last season. Defensively, they are led by their middle linebacker, Wyatt Schrader, 5'11", 185-pound senior. Rob Doyle, the head coach, says pound for pound, he may be the best linebacker in the state of Indiana. The keys to win for the Bishop Chatard Trojans.
Yeah, the keys to win tonight for the Bishop Chatard Trojans. Stop the run. If they feel if they can stop Northwood's run and make them pass, they're going to be in a better situation. Use the arsenal. They have so many weapons on offense. They need to get different guys the ball and get many touches from different people. Be smart, safe, and secure with the ball. No turnovers. They definitely want to sustain some drives and never turn the ball over.
Meanwhile, for Nate Andrews, Northwood Panthers, as the captains meet at midfield for the reenactment of the coin toss, two-way players are worth keeping an eye on tonight. One is the quarterback, Nate Newcomer. Last week in the win over Jimtown, he accounted for 169 total yards on offense, throwing for 51, but running for a career-high 118, and he also plays in the defensive secondary. And then there's Jaden Miller, a senior running back who rushed for 79 yards and a pair of touchdowns last week, but he's also one of the top tacklers on this team and has come up with some key stops in the past for the Panthers. The keys to win for Nate Andrews' squad.
The keys to win tonight for the Panthers, the home team on the scoreboard. Cut it loose. They need to make sure they go out there, have a little fun. Don't let the nerves be the determining factor in this game. And they need to be happy with 3 yards. They would love to have three yards for 4 plays. That's 12 yards for a first down every single time, and limit explosive plays. We talked about the arsenal that Chatard has. They need to limit those plays to small pickups. Can't give up the big explosive plays. Chuck?
We have talked about this series in the open, but it bears repeating. Bishop Chatard leads the series by a count of 2-1. The last time, though, was Northwood's win in the series, 7-0 in the state championship game of 2005. And all 3 of the previous meetings have been state championship games. A Chamber of Commerce night here in Napanee tonight as we take a look at our weather for tonight, brought to us by Hoover Lumber and Coal. 68 glorious degrees, a zephyr of 10 miles an hour moving that windmill right across the way, and there is not a chance we're going to see any rain tonight. Brilliant sunshine bathing Jim Andrews Field.
Well, it's our 3rd game into the year, our 2nd week into the year, and we've had nothing but beautiful weather the last 3 games and hope to continue that. And great games, great talent out on the field. We don't expect anything different from tonight's teams. We're going to see what Northwood can really bring to the Chatard team, really be tested here early in the season. Talked about it with a lot of people here in the community as we were coming in. They talked about, it's not a conference game, it's not a playoff game, but it's a way to be tested here early in the season.
It is obviously Hawaiian night for the student body here at Northwood as you take a look at the head coach of Bishop Chatard. Practicing attorney Rob Doyle Sr., a 1982 graduate of DePaul University. He also went to Andrean. He was a 12-year assistant at Bishop Chatard. This is his 3rd year as the head coach. You see Bishop Chatard in the white uniforms with blue pants and blue numbers. Northwood entirely in red tonight with black numbers, perhaps signifying this is a game you circle in red on the calendar.
Well, it definitely is. I talked to Norm Sellers, AD here at Northwood High School before the game and asked him about the red uniforms. He said, yeah, Nate, we were going back and forth, talked about maybe getting some white uniforms, but they wanted to go with this alternate color, maybe get some excitement. I've heard some comparison to Oregon football and things of that nature as well.
George Forsey has it on the tee, and we are underway in this showdown. Ethan Evers bobbles it at the 7, and Evers is met head-on at the 15, and down he goes. Terrific coverage on special teams as Pat Mastrian gets down the field quickly. Our first quarter tonight brought to us by our friends at J&N Stone, and we thank R. Yoder Construction for sponsoring our pregame show tonight. So it'll be Nate Newcomer at the helm of this offense here for the Northwood Panthers, although you will see a lot of different looks out of this wing tee, and you may well see some direct snaps to people who are not Nate Newcomer tonight.
I think Nate Andrews is trying to get a lot of different looks out of this offense and find who can really get this offense sparks and who's going to be one of the leaders on this team.
Newcomer keeps it on the option, puts his head down, and picks up a yard, maybe 2 on the play, up to the 16. So we take a look at the Northwood starting lineup on offense, brought to us by Reith Rohrer Funeral Home. Along with Newcomer, we told you about Miller, Vashawn Malone, a good running back, Jake Lone and Jason Borkholder, a pair of big targets at receiver. It's a veteran offensive line. 3 of the 5 starters return the newcomers, Brevin Miller and Bo Stankovic.
I didn't see any Bronson Yoder on that.
No Bronson Yoder, but there were 3 Millers and 2 newcomers. You call those names, half the offense runs out onto the field.
There you go.
And speaking of a Bronson Yoder type, well, Jaden Miller can carry the football and does before Wyatt Schrader bulldogs him down at the 20-yard line. And when you think of the explosiveness of this Northwood offense, a lot of it has to do with Miller. As for the Bishop Chatard defense, you take a look at a big front line with veterans in Will Mason and Dakota Boyd. In the linebacking core, we told you all about Schrader, but Tim McNeil, a 6'3", 210, and a senior. He can play too. It's a secondary led by cornerback Leo Diltz, the 6'1", 180-pound senior. It is 3rd and 4 from the 20. Newcomer with a man in motion and a high snap. Nate brings it down, but the high snap butchered the play, and it's a loss of 5 as Bishop Chatard came roaring in with a big stop by Joe Calvert, the linebacker.
We saw that a lot last night in the Edwardsburg-Wajek game, was that those high snaps really turned that offense and really got everything off sync, and the timing wasn't there. And you saw right there the defensive end was able to come inside the block and really disrupt that whole play.
Jaden Miller averaged 39 yards a kick last week. Matthew Coons is back deep for Bishop Chatard. The kick sponsored by Yoder Stutzman Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Miller, a line drive kick that Coons drops at his 47, but he's got plenty of time to pick up. A flag comes in on the play as Coons gets hit and thrown down at the 43-yard line by Jake Lone. Lone is a wrestler, and he would have gotten 2 points for that takedown.
Yeah, and he's still down the ground a little bit. It looked like he might have rolled his ankle when he was throwing him to the ground on that. We definitely have a flag on the play. Not sure what they're going to call here. It might have been a block in the back.
Well, in the meantime, there's going to be an injury timeout as they tend to Coons, but let's see if we get any kind of signal from our officiating crew as to what the penalty is. It's a South Bend area crew tonight. And the signal is a block in the back against Bishop Chatard. Jeffrey Farrell, Dennis Groening, Jim Kosas, Adam Martinek, and Chuck Pointer, a veteran crew working this one tonight. So the mark-off takes it back to the 45. Coons is coming off the field under his own power. That's a good sign. Hopefully he just got shaken up.
Thompson, Loninger, and Yoder Funeral Homes and NorthWood Monuments, a part of your community with locations in Napanee and Wakarusa. You can depend on Thompson, Loninger, and Yoder Funeral Homes to be there for you and your family in your time of need. Larry and Linda Thompson and Patrick and Jen Thompson are cheering on the Northwood football team. Go Panthers!
Kyle Cheek is the quarterback for Bishop Chatard. He's got a little bit of tape around his wrist that he wants to get rid of here. Dalen Taylor, an all-state running back, is behind him. Taylor ran for 97 yards in the win over Brebeuf last week, and he sets up to the left of Cheek with 3 receivers out there as well. Cheek looks to throw on first down. Wide open tight end Logan O'Brien takes it down to the 41-yard line. First down sponsored by the Jordan Automotive Group. O'Brien had 2 catches in the win over Brebeuf last week. Let's meet the Chatard offense, and you'll see after this play. Here we go. Dalen Taylor, the running back. We told you about Sawinski. You just saw O'Brien, the tight end. Joseph Solomon, the tackle, leads the offensive line. He's headed to play at Tulane. 1st and 10 from the Panther 41. They split 2 to each side. Cheek wants to throw again. Under pressure, it's knocked down, and was it caught? And it looks like it was a reception for Thomas Coleman, who picks up the deflected pass. Nope, they say it hit the ground.
Almost an interception, ricocheted off, and another receiver was in the area, and it looked like he tried to get it, but maybe trapped it on the ground.
We'll get another look on the South Bend Orthopedics replay and see exactly what happened here. The ball caroming off of Eddie Hildebrandt and then almost into the arms of Coleman, but it's ruled an incompletion, and it's 2nd and 10. Now it's Cheek on the option, and he's got room to run. Blockers in front. Kyle Cheek to the outside, run out of bounds at the 20-yard line. That's a pickup of 21 on the play for the Chatard quarterback.
What an explosive offense this Chatard team definitely has. We talked about this. Northwood really has to keep some containment, can't give up the big plays, and there's the third play of the game and 2 first downs in those 3 plays.
And the first down sponsored by the Jordan Automotive Group. Chatard already in the red zone, which will look really red with Northwood's uniforms tonight.
Yeah, and you can see the 3 wide on the right there, and they only got 2 guys under. Now they're going to motion them over.
Flag thrown on the play, and I believe somebody moved along the line of scrimmage. False start against Bishop Chatard, their second penalty. And, you know, one thing Rob Doyle pointed out was they had a problem with penalties last week. Let's meet this Northwood defense now. Their starting defense brought to you by the Wreath Lower Eric Leanhart Funeral Home. And you can see on the front line, you've got Jake Lone, who had 11 tackles last week. Ben Mestock, a very solid linebacker leading up that core. And then a couple of freshmen in there, and Ben Fataruso and Caden Lone. A little bit different playing Bishop Chatard than Beeger.
Yeah, definitely throwing in 2 freshmen in there, but you have to do what you need to do, and that's what Nate's going to do, put the best players out there, regardless of their age.
1st and 15. The throw to Jack Ane, and Ane takes it down the right sideline. Ane just knocked out of bounds before he got into the end zone. He took it down to the 3-yard line. So the sophomore, with his second catch of the season, picks up 22 on the play and sets up 1st and goal for the Trojans.
Here you can see a great SBO replay, and that block right there by the outside wide receiver set that play up. It was really going to be blown up right there in the backfield, but a great block by number 84.
Taylor, the lone man in the backfield behind the quarterback Kyle Cheek. The man in motion, McNeilis. They give it to Taylor up the middle for the touchdown. Dalen Taylor, who had 4 touchdowns last week against Brebeuf, gets his first tonight. And Bishop Chatard makes it look easy marching down the field.
I know that's one of the concerns with Nate, with this team, is their defense. How are they going to step up and how they're going to be able to respond to stuff offensively? But the biggest thing against a team like Chatard is you have to be solid up front. You can't have any mistakes, and every person has to play their assignment. You can't overplay anything.
So the touchdown sponsored by R&B Car Company as George Forsey comes on to try the extra point. He was perfect last week, and he is perfect tonight. And with 8:54 to go in the first quarter, Bishop Chatard looking the part of a top-ranked team. They march right down the field and punch it in with Dalen Taylor doing the damage. 7-0 Trojans on 46. This edition of the TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week is being brought to you in part by Teachers Credit Union. Find out how you can become a member. Go online and visit them at tcunet.com. Grow your future. Chuck Freeby, Bo Hunt, Bill back with you from Jim Andrews Field in Napanee. It is 7-0 in favor of Bishop Chatard, the top-ranked team in Class 3A, taking on the 4th-ranked team in Class 4A. Class didn't seem to matter on that opening drive.
No, it sure didn't. Chatard looked like they had no problem moving the ball any way they wanted to. They did a great job of quarterback play, throwing it, running it, whatever they wanted to do on that play. I think the biggest thing was the blocks. They were able to sustain their blocks as well and really open up some holes for their runners.
5 plays, 55 yards. It only took them 1:08. The kickoff will go into the end zone for the touchback. And Northwood will take over 1st and 10 at the 20.
Hey, if you're looking for something to do for this long Labor Day weekend, the TV 46 Game of the Week is brought to you in part by the Blueberry Festival. It's going on all weekend. Bring the whole family with great food and great family fun. Check out all the festivities at blueberryfestival.com.
I know that's a big favorite of yours, isn't it?
Yeah, just right down the old neck of the woods.
Of course, Plymouth at home tonight, taking on Kokomo, so I'm sure they have a big crowd going back and forth between the festival and the football game.
Yeah, that Northwood or Plymouth had a close one last week as well.
Now a direct snap to Jaden Miller, and Miller kind of got knocked over by his own man that time as his offensive lineman was shoved down by Will Mason, the 6'3", 250 junior, and Patrick Mastrian also in on the stop. Pickup of 3 that time for Miller. But that's just fine with the Northwood offense.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's just exactly what they want. The problem in their last drive was they had that bad snap, and it offset the plays to where they didn't have their timing set up, and they had a big loss in that play. So as long as they can keep picking up 3 yards at a time, 3-4 yards, they're very happy with that.
All the players looking over at Booney Booker, the offensive coordinator, as he signals in the plays. Newcomer in motion, it's Miller on the carry, and Miller hesitated, and Calvert helps spin him down at the 25-yard line. Another pickup of 3, though, looking at 3rd and 4. One of the reasons they like this single wing offense, Bo, is they feel like they might be able to get numbers matchups. 8 on 7 there at the line of scrimmage.
That's what they really want to do, is be able to get those matchups and have the advantage in that. The thing with Chatard that I've already noticed, though, is they're not overplaying the ball anytime. They're only playing their position, which is very smart and exactly what you want to do in team football.
Well, here's the other thing. The way Chatard is lined up right now on defense, and I realize they can change, but they have 10 in the box.
Yeah.
And so they're daring Northwood to try to beat them deep. And Northwood going to keep it on the ground. Miller trying to get around to the outside, now reverses his field, and that wound up not being a real good decision. Pat Mastrian gets him down back at the 9-yard line. It's a loss of 16 on the play.
You can just see anytime Northwood gets the outside or whichever way they're going, here you can see a great copy of they're attacking the line of scrimmage rather than waiting for Miller or whoever it is running the ball to get to the line and then attack them. They're attacking before they even get the outside, forcing them back to the inside.
So now Miller has to punt from his own end zone, and you get the feeling that the field wouldn't be tilted through much of the first quarter here tonight. High end-over-end kick. New returner back there at the 45-yard line. That's Andrew Sawinski, and he's going right up the field and into the end zone for a touchdown. Sawinski, the all-state receiver, shows his dangerous speed on special teams.
Talked about him being one of our key players tonight. He just showed it right there. The speed that he has, the ability to break one, make a big play. Here's a great SBO replay of it. Catches along the sideline, just gets right up the middle, and just had a couple little arms get on him, but just great blocking by his offensive set there.
So you put in your backup punt returner, and he winds up breaking one. 47 yards for the score. We have barely blinked, and Bishop Chatard is on the verge of a 14-0 lead if George Forsey can get the extra point. The snap is good, the kick is up, and it is no good. He missed it to the right.
Looks like a little bit of a bad hold on that. He started a little too early and just kind of popped it up there.
So the touchdown sponsored by R&B Car Company. The punt by Northwood was sponsored by Yoder Stutzman Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. And it's 13-0 Bishop Chatard midway through the first quarter.
East Lake 24 Napanee is a full-service fitness club with 24-hour access. They never close. Just $25 to enroll and only $29 a month for unlimited access to all 16 of the East Lake and Fit Stop locations. Check it out yourself. Between Ace Hardware and Martin Supermarket, that's East Lake 24 Napanee.
Those of you watching on Facebook Live tonight should send a little thank you to Lori Sumter at Phil Hahn and Associates. She's the one who is sponsoring our Facebook Live stream tonight. We appreciate the support. Hope you're enjoying it wherever you're watching in these great United States or around the world.
And a big thank you goes out to Cook's Pizza. They fed our production crew tonight, and when Panther fans are hungry, well, they go to Cook's Pizza. Whether you're hungry for pizza, chicken strips, breadsticks, breaded mushrooms, or ice cream, Cook's Pizza can feed your family or your whole team. You can also find that same great food at Jimtown Pizza in Jimtown.
Bill Beck drawn like a magnet to that Cook's Pizza tonight.
They said ice cream. I didn't see any ice cream. Did Bill eat all the ice cream?
Apparently so. Here's Ben Mestock taking the kick back at his 6-yard line. Puts his head down, smashes his way up to the 27. And it'll be 1st and 10 from there. Speaking of Bill Beck, let's go down to him for a Bills Heating sideline report. You are there on that Northwood sideline. They find themselves in a 13-0 hole. What's the morale like?
Right now, they're just trying to find some sort of a discipline up front. That's the word I keep hearing. discipline, the fundamentals on the offensive side. They're just not matching any kind of blocking scheme right now. And Chatard just blowing it up at the point of attack like Bo pointed out. Great scheme so far by Chatard.
Here's the handoff to Vashawn Malone, and he's dragged down behind the line of scrimmage as Chatard spending plenty of time in the backfield. That's Hayes Shepard, the 6'1", 220-pound senior, coming in to make the stop that time for a loss of 3.
Shepard just blew that up right before the play even started. He was up in there before the handoff was even given.
7 carries for -12 rushing yards so far for the Northwood Panthers. They're looking at 2nd and 13, and at some point you wonder when Nate Andrews is going to pull the trigger to put the ball up in the air. Maybe it'll be here with Newcomer lining up in the shotgun. Nope, they keep it on the ground. Newcomer tries to go off the left side with a little bit of misdirection, but a wall of white jerseys there, and leading the way was Joe Calvert, but he had plenty of help from his teammates. Raul Ortega in there as well. Got back to the original line of scrimmage. It's 3rd and 10.
Third down has been their Achilles heel tonight. They've had 2 big sacks in their last 2 drives on 3rd down. Here, now they're actually getting a 3rd and long, which they haven't had, and see if they can go ahead and convert here in the 3rd down.
Newcomer pitches out to Mestock, and Mestock meets Patrick Mastrian. For a baseball player headed to the University of Michigan, he looks like a pretty good football player too. He's made some nice stops already tonight.
Yeah, I know that Michigan baseball team likes to take multi-sport athletes, and there's one right there. What a great job of really coming up and just blowing that play up. Northwood had no chance at that, making that play happen.
So 4th and 13, Miller will punt for the 3rd time this quarter. And again, it's Sawinski back deep. End over end kick that Sawinski fields at his own 44. And he brings it back to the Northwood 47. So again, Bishop Chatard will start in plus territory for the, well, they didn't start in plus territory on their first drive, but they were at the 45.
Yeah, they had that penalty. They were at the, blocking the back, moving it back 10 yards, but they've had great field position all night. That's the biggest thing to take away from this first quarter so far is the field position that Chatard's had.
So the second possession for the Trojans, they had a punt return for a touchdown as well. Kyle Cheek, the quarterback, his first year as the starter. He was the backup to Mark Nondorf, yes, last year. And Nondorf is now at Ball State. Snap to Cheek. He fires high off the hands of Logan O'Brien, and too far away for Ben Fataruso to come up with.
That's the second time Cheeks has had a high pass where he's actually kind of overthrown the receiver just a little bit, throwing it a little bit too high, and Northwood's had a second opportunity for an interception.
Rob Doyle Sr. told me on the phone this week that there were only about 3 or 4 plays last week that Kyle Cheek didn't grade well on. I had the feeling that would be one of them from this week. 2nd and 10. O'Brien in motion. The handoff, Darian Gilbert around the right side. His first carry of the night is productive as he gets knocked out of bounds at the 39-yard line. Pickup of 7 on the play for the speedy senior.
Yoder Stutzman Plumbing, Heating and Air Conditioning has been serving Napanee and the surrounding area since 1969. They're committed to what you do and are here to serve you for your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. Yoder Stutzman Plumbing, Heating and Air Conditioning, building lasting solutions.
They're our punt and kick sponsor tonight for the Northwood Panthers. 3rd and 3 for Bishop Chatard. They'll keep it on the ground, and Gilbert was snuffed out that time. Northwood read that play beautifully with Jason Borkholder roaring in to make the stop.
What a great job of penetration coming in from the weak side there, just collapsing down here. A big 4th down. We'll see what Chatard does. They do have their offensive players still out there.
They've been given no reason for their defense to have any fear whatsoever, so why punt it? Why not take the shot on 4th and 5? Loss of 2 on the play that time for Gilbert. Cheek pitches out to Dalen Taylor. He's got the first down behind some big blocks.
Wow.
Logan O'Brien Looked like a bulldozer out there moving people out of the way, and he gets it up to the 26. Pickup of 15 on the play for Taylor, and a first down sponsored by Jordan Automotive.
Here you can see him busting through the line, and when he comes up, that's Jaden Miller. Jaden Miller is not a small kid at all, and he just hits him and bounces right off and then keeps going.
Finally, Nate Newcomer able to make the tackle, but Chatard having everything its own way here in the opening stanza.
I think the biggest thing with that last play wasn't no trick play or off balance or reverse or anything. It was just, we're coming right here and we're going to get the first down.
Taylor up the middle now. Now Taylor this time gets wrapped up by Ben Mestock after a pickup of 2. Mestock, a young man who's also a sprinter on the track team, had some big plays last year defensively, an interception and a fumble recovery for touchdown. And at this point, I think that's what Northwood has to look for, is maybe be able to create a turnover and change the momentum of this game quickly.
Well, that's definitely, you got to be looking for a turnover in this situation. You can't be going down 3 scores at this time.
Cheek throws in the flat, and it is well covered by Jaden Miller. Andrew Sawinski had nowhere to go. And it's Kyle Sellers who actually gets there for the stop. So Kyle Sellers roars up from the cornerback position. It was Miller who forced the high pass, and then Sellers went right around the potential blocker to wrap up Sawinski for a loss of 2 on the play.
Wreath Rohrer Eric Lienhart Funeral Home, a legacy of helping families in our community remember their loved ones with dignity and respect. Wreath Rohrer Eric Lienhart Funeral Home, a proud supporter of Northwood football. Go Panthers.
Cheek tonight is 3 out of 6 for 33 yards. He gives it to Taylor here. Big hole, but there's a flag on the play, and maybe there was some holding going on.
I believe the fans in the stands saw that holding. I saw a couple of them stand up right before that flag came in, and there's the holding call.
So let's take a look and see if we can pick up what happened here, as Jake Lone got held from behind on that play. Looks like it might have been the tight end that got him.
Got him on the back shoulder blade there, grabbed a hold of that jersey, and the refs are going to see that every time if you turn their back with the jersey still being held.
3rd penalty tonight on Bishop Chatard.
Northwood's defense really starting to step up this drive. Big long 3rd down here.
3rd and 15 from the 32. Cheek taking his time making the play call. Cheek wants Sawinski on a turnaround, and he gets him on the button hook pattern. And look at Sawinski lose the football, but it's knocked out of bounds. And that'll be a first down for Bishop Chatard up to the Northwood 11. It's sponsored by the Jordan Automotive Group. Pickup of 21 on the play to the All-Stater, Andrew Sawinski.
Northwood didn't get any luck on this play. You can see the ball definitely comes out. Great rip out by Sellers, but just a bad bounce. If that would have came back in, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Northwood players there that could have jumped on that ball and just happened to bounce out of bounds for the first down for the Chatard Trojans.
So Bishop Chatard looking at a 1st and 10 from the Northwood 11, a minute 20 to go in the first quarter. Dalen Taylor up the middle, spun down by Jason Borkholder after a pickup of 3. Borkholder, a young man, you could describe him as country strong. He is a basketball and track standout here at Northwood, as well as a football player. Taylor tonight, 4 carries for 23 yards. Cheek gets the play from the sidelines. 2 receivers off to his right. And whistles blown and a timeout called by Northwood. The timeout sponsored by the Bowling Vision Center, and we'll keep it right here.
Imaginary Finishing Technologies is celebrating 60 years as an industry knowledge source for metal finishing solutions. 60 years of serving the automotive, medical, aerospace, military defense industries. Go to iftworldwide.com for more info. Like the teams in tonight's game, we're working for a great finish.
A reminder that this Bishop Chatard offense, one of the reasons they're so explosive, look at the accolades that they've already received. Joseph Solomon was a Associated Press 4A All-State player as a junior. He's headed to Tulane. Andrew Sawinski and Dalen Taylor were named to the coaches' junior All-State team, and the way they played in the opening 5 quarters of this season, they're making a bid to be on any All-State team this year.
Yeah, I mean, and you're looking at these two teams. This is a very good Northwood team as well. Very well balanced. They don't have that, standout stud like we talked about last year, but they have some talent on this team. But this Chatard team, man, they've come out here with a purpose, and they're showing Northern Indiana what Chatard's all about.
Meanwhile, Zach Miller getting retaped on the Northwood sideline. He's one of their starting offensive guards. Doesn't look like anything other than a standard tape job being done to him. 2nd and 7 at the 8-yard line for Bishop Chatard, already leading 13-0. The whole first quarter has been played on the Northwood end of the field. Kyle Cheek, the senior quarterback, looks over the situation. He wants to throw to Sawinski in the end zone, and that was too easy. Touchdown, Bishop Chatard. They had a matchup out there where Nate Newcomer was playing on the inside, so Sawinski just went to the outside, and there was no help in single coverage.
No, I mean, they were man-up coverage on that, and all he did is make one little move for the post corner there. You can see a great SBO replay of it. Cheek sees him, makes the throw. There's nobody in that corner that's going to touch him as long as he puts it out on that outside shoulder, and he just did a great job getting it to Sawinski for his 2nd touchdown of the night.
3rd catch of the night for Sawinski. George Forsey's extra point attempt is up and good. The scoring sponsored by the R&B Car Company, and with 34 seconds to go in the first quarter, Bishop Chatard looking very impressive indeed, 20-0. And that man, Nate Andrews, has a task ahead of him tonight to keep everybody up on his sideline.
Yeah, definitely. It's the first quarter. There's a lot of game left in this, and a lot of learning that can happen in the next 3 quarters in this game. And I know Coach Andrews is going to be able to try to instill that in the kids. It's a matter of if they're listening, if they're paying attention, if they're still involved in this game, and they have to be, and they have to regroup. And we talked about it, and I've talked about it a lot with coaching and things, that sometimes it's good to lose, and sometimes it's good to maybe get embarrassed a little bit by a team. Just know what your weaknesses are, and to build from that, and you become stronger in that aspect.
You have to remember, Northwood for the last couple of years in week 2 was playing a Fairfield team that hasn't won a game in a couple of years. Now you have completely flipped who your opponent is, and you're taking on one of the titans of Indiana football, a Bishop Chatard team that under Vince Lorenzano became a fixture in the Class 3A state finals, and Rob Doyle Sr. trying to get them back there.
I guarantee you 80 to 90% of coaches would rather have that flip. They would rather play a team that's going to give them better competition, even if they do get the loss, because they're going to learn so much more and become so much more competitive by playing a team like Chatard tonight.
Forsey with the kickoff. It's taken by Ben Mestock at his 7. Mestock moves it up the middle of the field to the 25-yard line. And again, Northwood will start deep in its own territory. 1st and 10 for the final 28 seconds of quarter number 1.
Hey, a big thanks out to the team from St. Andrews Products for making our crew look super good these last couple of weeks and throughout the rest of this year. They can do the same for your school or corporation. Call 800-628-9922 or email at sales@standrewscorp.com.
It's funny to watch the crew every time they get a new piece from St. Andrews. It's like another Christmas day.
Yeah.
1st and 10 from the 25. Newcomer throws out in the flat. It's a double pass. Kyle Sellers finds Jaden Miller, and Miller takes it all the way down to the Chatard 48. A pickup of 27 and a 1st down, sponsored by South Bend Orthopedics. So they go into the bag of tricks and ask Kyle Sellers to do a little passing right there.
Well, they opened up the passing game, but it was a halfback passing game that they opened up. We'll see if they stick with the passing game here.
Now it's an inside reverse to Jaden Miller, and look at him go. Miller takes it up to the 38-yard line. Another 1st down, sponsored by South Bend Orthopedics.
Northwood with the momentum here, trying to get a snap off before the end of the first quarter. They feel that momentum coming.
They have 7.5 seconds to do it. It's Newcomer trying to go up the middle. He dives to the 34. So a stronger end to the first quarter for what was otherwise a very difficult first quarter for the Northwood Panthers. Emotions have been high here at Jim Andrews Field, but the Bishop Chatard Trojans have been high on the scoreboard. They lead it 20-0 over Northwood going to the second on 46. This edition of the TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week brought to you by Indiana University South Bend, fulfilling the promise. We promise you a Bills Heating Sideline Report, and it's good to have our buddy Bill back with us tonight. Bill, your thoughts on quarter number one?
You got to admire the precision and the fundamentals that Chatard bring to the game. Look at the little things, and Bo's talked about some of it. Their blocking patterns, offensive linemen getting downfield, wide receivers getting downfield, and defensively right now, Northwood's linemen can't get to the second tier. Chatard's linebackers are free to clear because Northwood can't get to the second level and do any good blocking. And one quick history note, Chuck, you talked about this game being played in 2005, and Chatard, the year after Northwood won, Chatard went on to win 2 more after that. So
2006 and 2007. Jaden Miller on the direct snap has room to run, but there's a flag on the play. This one is coming back, folks.
Yeah, that looked like a holding call right away. Flag came out as soon as he came through the line of scrimmage and cut to the outside, and everybody's walking back.
We'll see if we can pick it up on the SBO replay, but it's holding against Northwood. And just when things were going well for the Panthers, we'll try to pick up what happened. It's right there, the grab of the jersey by number 71.
As Northwood's trying to get back in this game, well, you can get back in the game with South Bend Orthopedics. They're the team physicians for University of Notre Dame since 1947.
So now on second and long, second and we'll call it 15. Let's see what Northwood will do here. The snap to Newcomer. He's trying to run off the left side, has blockers in front, and manages to penetrate to the 35-yard line. Not a bad pickup of all. 8 yards on the play. That's the longest run the Newcomer has had tonight.
Yeah, you talked about trying to get the advantage with numbers and everything. It looks like they're pulling 2 guys now to fill that off-tackle hole, and Miller's able to get behind those 2 guys and really pick up a little bit better yardage that way. But definitely have a third and 9 here. Manageable, but we'll see if they go to the air. Maybe a tight end over the middle.
Going to have to be a tight end the way they're lined up right now. And now we've got a flag thrown and
sideline
sideline warning against Bishop Chatard.
One of the few mistakes Chatard's made tonight so far.
That's one of those things, too. It doesn't really mean anything until you have the next one.
Yep.
So 3rd and 9. Miller in motion and another flag thrown. What happened here?
Twitch.
False start called on Northwood, and that'll cost them 5. So a couple of big penalties stymieing this drive here for the Northwood Panthers.
Looked like the back judge shook his head like one of the guys twitched his head, the quarterback, maybe when he was doing the snap, did a quick twitch or something.
The way Chatard's been getting into the backfield, I'd be doing a quick twitch if I were a quarterback. 3rd and 14. Newcomer on play action. Better get rid of it. Down he goes.
Had the tight end open in the post corner route. Didn't want to throw it. Instead, tried to scramble, but it was too late at that time.
Georgia Sally comes in and gets the sack, and you get another look from South Bend Orthopedics. You hear it all the time when you're watching college or pro games. There's got to be a clock in your head when you're a quarterback. Tick, tick,
Yep.
tick, and then you got to get rid of the football, and Newcomer didn't and paid the price. So Jaden Miller will do the punting here, sponsored by Yoder Stutzman Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Andrew Sawinski now looking into the sun as he tries to watch this punt, and it'll roll into the end zone for a touchback. So a 47-yard punt, but a net of 27, and Bishop Chatard will get it back 1st and 10 at its own 20.
Finally, some field position for Northwood to hopefully work with here to
maybe their defense step up and not give up the big play.
Second quarter tonight brought to us by our friends at J&N Stone. Thanks to Jack and Nadine and the family for that. 10:31 to go here in the first half. 20-0 in favor of Chatard. Kyle Cheek calling the play here at the line of scrimmage. NorthWood with 5 defensive backs in the game right now. Trying to give a little bit of a different defensive look. Cheek rolls out, hit as he throws. He is able to complete it to Jack Ane, his second catch of the night. And Ane makes the catch at the 21-yard line, only a pickup of 1 on the play. Ane, the son of a former Elkhart Central Blue Blazer.
See, good grab, kept his foot in.
2 catches, 23 yards tonight for the sophomore. He had 1 catch in their win over Brebeuf last week. Chatard was very impressive in week 1. Brebeuf is a team ranked in the top 10 of Class 3A, and they beat them by 35.
Yeah, they handled them pretty easily at that point.
Cheek with a handoff up the middle. Dalen Taylor, he's got a hole. He could be gone. Taylor in a foot race will pull away from most. Sellers couldn't turn him. Touchdown, Bishop Chatard. 78 yards for Dalen Taylor.
Taylor able to get through that hole, and nobody was able to catch him with his speed. And I think one of the biggest things was the blocks up front. He was able to come through and put a move on the linebackers because nobody touched him at the line of scrimmage. Full speed through the hole.
The touchdown sponsored by R&B Car Company. The drive took all of 18 seconds.
Looks like they threw a flag at the 30. Sideline warning again, I think, on that play.
Well, if it's a sideline warning on Chatard. No, okay, the flag has been picked up. And I think that's what Nate Andrews is questioning. He's like, I saw a flag. What's going on?
They're still standing like they're...
So George Forsey will come on to try the extra point. As Chatard tries to run the lead to 27-0 here in the second quarter. Pat Mastrian does the holding. I think they might be short a body out on the field.
Teachers Credit Union understands the importance of growing your future. Whether you're growing your family, your square footage, or your business, Teachers Credit Union is here for you with financial solutions that will help you succeed. Visit tcunet.com to start growing your future today. They're federally insured by the NCUA and the Equal Housing Opportunity.
Forsey's extra point is up and good. Dalen Taylor has had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. You can see why here. He's got some giddy-up, he's got some blockers, and he's got his second touchdown of the night as Bishop Chatard is up big on NorthWood. This edition of the TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week being brought to you by South Bend Orthopedics. Get back in the game with South Bend Orthopedics, team physicians for the University of Notre Dame since 1947. We're in the Frank Leahy years at the University of Notre Dame. One of the statues.
Yep, one of the statues, one of the prominent figures for Notre Dame.
So Bishop Chatard on top of NorthWood, 27-0, and about to kick off yet again. This, I believe, will already be their 5th kickoff of the night.
Yeah, because they let off. They
started
off.
the game by kicking off.
NorthWood received the ball to start the game.
George Forsey will put it into play. Ben Mestock standing all the way back at about his 13-yard line. Forsey kicking into the wind a little bit, and it's Ethan Evers who tries to play it on the hop, picks it up at the 32 and pays the price. Evers, a freshman, and maybe showed a little bit on that play.
Was it the first time in the state championship these two teams, and it was 49-0 at that time, now at the state championship? I know Bill was down there. I'd be curious to see what Bill's thoughts were on that game versus this game in the
Check
comparison.
with him in a minute, but we just want to tell people this is the first time Northwood has played a #1 team since facing Roncalli in the 2016 state championship. That was a difficult night as well, although right now this one's pacing far worse than the Roncalli game was, and we'll go to Bill for a Bills Heating sideline report here in a moment after this 1st and 10 play from the Northwood 32. Nate Newcomer, nowhere to run. Georgia Sally and the rest of the Trojans bringing down at the line of scrimmage. So, Bill, you have been at all the Northwood Bishop Chatard games. Does this one look familiar?
Yeah, I can't remember the year, Chuck, but there was a 49-0 game in there in the late 90s. You have the dates there in front of you. I've kind of lost track. But it makes me think back to those Chatard teams that we used to know back then was double tight, power eye, toss left, toss right. That's about all they did, and they'd run it 47 times a game. This is not your father's Chatard team right here.
No, much more entertaining one for a fan to watch, I think. Here's Jaden Miller running around the outside. Miller dragging tacklers with him and takes it on up to the 40-yard line. Miller, who can squat over 400 pounds, got those big, strong legs going that time for a 7-yard pickup before he was finally brought down on the play by Raul Ortega.
Important for Northwood to convert this 3rd down here, get a 1st down, move the clock. They have to slow down this Chatard offense. In order to do it, they can't give them the ball back.
Miller at quarterback. And Miller pretty much ran into Nate Newcomer on the play, so the timing thrown off with the Wildcat formation. It'll be 4th and 2. And decision time here for Nate Andrews. With 8:39 to go in the first half, it looks like Northwood's going to line up in a formation to go for it on 4th and 2. What have you got to lose?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is the discipline of the play. They're just, line up, let's run the play, let's be disciplined up there.
You hope that maybe you can get them to jump offside, which highly unlikely. So Miller turns it up the field, and he gets the 1st down. Jaden Miller shoved out of bounds at the 44-yard line, and he gets a 1st down sponsored by South Bend Orthopedics.
McDonald Physical Therapy is proud to have Michiana's top physical therapist known for quality of care and patient focus. Remember, McDonald Physical Therapy when you need to get back into the game.
Just 43 yards total offense for Northwood so far in this one. 16 on the ground, 27 through the air on a halfback pass. 1st and 10 at the 45. Newcomer wants to throw here, gets rid of it, and overthrew his man. It was almost picked off. Nice to see Matthew Coons back in the game after that being shaken up earlier, and he almost came up with a pick right there.
Yeah, good roll out there and had the guy open for a time being, but just a little overthrown. Northwood, of course, not known for throwing a whole lot of passes, but get back in this game, they're definitely have to throw a little bit.
Last year, Newcomer threw the ball about 36 times for the season, and last week he chucked it up there 8 times against Jimtown. 2nd and 10. Joe Newcomer in motion. It's Nate Newcomer on the carry. Nate Newcomer breaks a tackle, and Nate Newcomer takes it all the way down to the 45-yard line. That should be enough for a Northwood 1st down, and it is. Sponsored by South Bend Orthopedics.
Good job by Nate just getting out to the outside of that. The offensive line actually got pushed back about 1.5 yards on that play. So when he first got touched, it was in the backfield, and he was able to break that 1st tackle and pick up a huge 1st down.
11 yards on the pickup for Nate Newcomer. Young man who was an All-Northern Lakes Conference selection a year ago. Honor roll student here at Northwood High School. Member of the baseball team as well. 1st and 10 from the 44. Now looks like Ben Mestock will get the direct snap. And it's Mestock going off the left side for a couple of yards before he gets taken down. Georgia Sally having a very nice game tonight on the defensive line.
Yeah, Well, I think one of the big things that Northwood's getting, and we talked about this, is the learning experience, and they're rotating some guys in, getting some different guys some carries, but they're kind of running that off tackle, and it's like, guys, let's go. We have to get these plays down. We're going to be running these plays and these plays only for the rest of the game and throughout the season as well.
2nd and 9 at the 43, 7.5 to go, first half. Miller in motion, Mestock on the carry. Mestock runs around the outside, gets his legs taken out from him by Dalen Taylor, who's playing a little bit of both ways tonight. 5-yard pickup for Mestock. That'll leave it 3rd and we'll call it 4.
Northwood rotating guys in and out in that backfield.
Wonder if this is one of those plays where they might try to go to the big tight end, Jake Alone.
Yeah, they got Miller back in there at quarterback.
Lone lines up in a little bit of a split. But it's Miller running off the left side, dragging a Sally with him. Didn't quite get to the sticks. He got to the 45-yard line. It'll be 4th and 1. And to drag a Sally, that's a pretty good job. He's 5'10", 235, and a young man who squats 500 pounds.
That's a big boy, very strong. I think the biggest thing was they're going to go for it here on 4th down, as they did, and they just wanted to get close to that yard marker so they could have a manageable 4th down.
So Miller with back-to-back 3-yard carries gets another Panther first down. Their 5th of the first half, 3 on this drive. And this has been the most impressive drive that Northwood has put together yet tonight.
Yeah, they're picking up the yards. They're not just 1 or 2 at a time. It's 3, 4, 5, a couple big long runs in here as well, some first downs, eating up some clock. Of course, the clock is not in their favor at this point.
Not when you're down by 27.
No.
Newcomer up the middle. This is a play Northwood ran a lot last year, and you can understand why. They've got a big center in Garrett Engelmeyer. And Engelmeyer helped move people out of the way that time for a 4-yard pickup for Newcomer, who has carried the ball 10 times tonight for 22 yards. And certainly, when you look at this Northwood team, you would expect the offensive line to be one of the strengths of this team. They have 3 returning starters in Marshall, Engelmeyer, and Zach Miller. Newcomer on play action. Oh, he's got Miller behind everybody, and it's complete. Down to the 4.
Got a flag on the play.
We'll see what this is all about.
In the backfield, which usually means a holding call.
A well-run route by Jaden Miller. He was able to get behind the defensive back, and a well-thrown ball by Nate Newcomer, but
Now they're clapping, so it looks like I'm roughing the passer.
Against Bishop Chatard, that'll be half the distance, so they'll take it down to the 2.
Northwood did not need a penalty on that play. They needed any break they could get. Great play, great pass, good reception by Miller. Down to the 4-yard line, half the distance to the goal, put it down about the 2-yard line. 1st and goal for the Panthers.
Miller with 2 grabs tonight for 51 yards, and a timeout taken by Bishop Chatard with 5:51 to go in the first half. The Trojans lead 27-0, but Northwood knocking on the door here on 46. This edition of the TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week brought to you in part by the Indiana High School Athletic Association, partnering with TV 46 for 30 years. That would be the Indiana High School Athletic Association for our English-speaking listeners.
IHSAA.
Yes. You're looking at Jim Andrews Field in Napanee tonight. 27-0 in favor of the top-ranked team in Class 3A, the Bishop Chatard Trojans. But the Northwood Panthers, ranked 4th in Class 4A, have put together an impressive drive that started back at their own 31-yard line. They are now down to the Trojan 2, looking at 1st and goal, and I think Rob Doyle Sr., I probably wanted to challenge his team. All right, you're a good defense. Keep them out of the end zone.
Yeah, I think that had a lot to do with it right there. He saw that they were getting pushed around a little bit, getting manhandled, and here's the time to step up. 1st and goal from the 2. Let's see what you got. If you're the #1 team in 3A, He's going to challenge him.
And they answered it on that play as Pat Mastrian came up from the defensive end spot and made the stop on Nate Newcomer at the line of scrimmage.
Thompson Luninger and Yoder Funeral Homes and Northwood Monuments, a part of your community with locations in Napanee and Wakarusa. You can depend on Thompson Luninger and Yoder Funeral Homes to be there for you and your family in your time of need. Larry and Linda Thompson and Patrick and Jim Thompson are cheering on the Northwood football team. Go Panthers.
So it's 2nd and 2, or 2nd and goal, I should say, from the 2. Borkholder, the lone receiver, off to the left side. Newcomer to the end zone, touchdown Northwood. Nate Newcomer runs it in from 2 yards out for a touchdown, sponsored by Teachers Credit Union, and the Panthers are on the board.
That off-tackle play they did almost the whole way down the field, a little bit up the middle, mostly off-tackle. You can see here, get a couple lead blocks, running back, pulling guard there, come around the outside. What a great job of fouling the blocks. Big seal off by the tight end there as well.
So Yerson Sanchez is on to try the extra point. The snap is high, the kick is blocked. Sanchez put it right into the belly of Pat Mastrian. And it is 27-6 Chatard with 5:04 to go in the first half. Still, best drive of the night for the Panthers as they managed to chew 5 minutes and 9 seconds off the clock and march 69 yards to dent the scoreboard.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really needed drive. It was really important for them, not just to score, but to have a drive where they know that they can move and they can move the ball up and down the field. And they did a great job of it.
A reminder, next Friday night, more high school football comes your way on TV 46, and we'll stream it live on Facebook from Metulski Field in Mishawaka. The renewal of the Holy War, the St. Joe Indians taking on the 6th-ranked team in Class 3A, the Mishawaka Marion Knights. You'll see it live on Facebook at 7, and Friday night at 11, and Saturday morning at 9 on your home for high school sports in northern Indiana, TV 46.
Big Holy War at Father Bly Field.
This will be at Bob
Atulski Field.
Last year, St. Joe winning at Father Bly Field, but the Indians stumbled in their opener against Concord, losing 17-14. Marion looked very impressive in its opener against Clay. They have John Glenn that they're playing tonight. Sanchez to kick off. The high spinning kick will be taken by Sawinski at his goal line.
Like he had stepped back in the end zone, but they went ahead and let him bring it out.
And it paid off for Sawinski, who brings it all the way out to the 31-yard line. Remember, Sawinski had a punt return for a touchdown earlier in the game and a receiving touchdown.
You can see him catch it. Might have caught it. Yeah, maybe
he caught it outside the goal line and carried it back. We saw
Yeah.
that in the game against Edwardsburg up in Michigan.
Yeah.
So 1st and 10 from the 31. Still 5 minutes to go in the first half, and Bishop Chatard with 2 timeouts remaining, so not a problem here in terms of time for Kyle Cheek and company.
Talked about shutting down this Chatard offense. Northwood, the way they were going to do it was keep their offense on the field, and they were able to do that. It's been a while since this offense has been out there on the field.
I have Cheek tonight, 4 out of 7 for 41 yards. The last time the offense had the ball, they just gave it to Dalen Taylor, and he took it 78. Oh, ball loose in the backfield, picked up by Sawinski. Or did they call it a forward pass? Because they tried to flip it to Sawinski out of Cheek's hands, and he dropped it.
Yeah.
That's a forward pass and incomplete. Watch it again on the South Bend Orthopedics replay.
He did throw it and
Forward.
kind of threw it up in the air. If he was to hand it off, it would have been a handoff, forward handoff, which is actually a fumble. But he did throw it in the air out of his hands. He didn't do a direct handoff.
Almost tried to volleyball that. And speaking of volleyball, one of our TCU Student Athletes of the Week coming up on the halftime report sponsored by Eastlake 24, Northwood volleyball player Maddie Payne. This is Dalen Taylor.
Wow.
This is not looking good for Northwood. Dalen Taylor is off to the races. 69 yards, no flags, touchdown, Bishop Chatard, his third of the night.
He's able to get through that line so quick before anybody can touch him, and has great awareness to be able to cut in and then back out. You can see him come here. He cuts right there to the outside, and then he's able to cut right back. Read that ahead of time and understand, hey, I can set that up. I got a blocker there. All I got to do is cut back a little bit, and I'm able to go to the end zone.
Dalen Taylor tonight, 6 carries, 170 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Travis Etienne?
Very similar, at least in terms of results.
Yeah.
George Forsey on to try the extra point. Pat Mastrian's hold is down, the kick is up, and it is good. 4:40 to go in the first half. It's 34-6 Bishop Chatard. The touchdown, by the way, sponsored by our friends at R&B Car Company.
TV 46 Game of the Week is brought to you in part by the Blueberry Festival, going on all weekend. Bring the whole family for great food, great family fun. Check out all the festivities at blueberryfestival.org. That's down in Plymouth, Indiana.
In the Class 3A poll, where Bishop Chatard is ranked number 1, we mentioned Marion a moment ago, ranked number 6. First of all, huge number of parochial private schools in the top 10. I believe there's 6 of the top 10 are parochial and private schools. But look, I haven't seen Gibson Southern play. I'm not going to pretend to know a lot about them. I'm going to tell you this. There has to be a huge chasm between 1 and 2. I just can't picture anybody else in 3A being as good as this Bishop Chatard team right now.
Yeah, they're very solid. Offense, defense, they have speed. I mean, I don't even think we've touched what they can do out here because they've had some big plays, a punt return for a touchdown. Offensively, Cheek hasn't been really challenged, I don't think, at this point either.
By the way, the 4th-ranked team, West Lafayette, last week scored 65 points and lost by 12. And it's not basketball season.
Are they the defending state champs? West Lafayette is, yeah.
I asked Rob Doyle if he had happened to see any clips of that game. He goes, I've watched about 30 plays, and it's like watching a pinball scoreboard. We'll go down to Bill Beck for a Bills Heating sideline report after this George Forsey kickoff. Ben Mestock back deep once again. Forsey puts the boot to it, and Mestock has to watch it go over his head and corral it at the 2. Mestock looking for some running room. He gets hit hard, and that could be a face mask penalty there against Bishop Chatard. We'll see what the signal is here by the official, as Tom Lamarck was coming in a little bit high that time. And it was thrown by the referee. Watch it again as Mestock comes in, and Lamarck right there. Helmet to helmet. That's going to be 15 yards.
Yep, they are calling it. Helmet
so that'll put NorthWood up to the 30. But Bill Beck, as you watch the Chatard team, you mentioned earlier the little things. It's not a little thing when you watch Taylor run the football. He is explosive.
Yeah, he's got some vision too. You can tell he knows when to cut and can cut on the dime as well as any back I've seen in the last few years. But then his explosiveness, once he sees the hole, to just hit the jets and go. Kind of reminds me of a young Bo Hunt. He had that kind of breakaway speed.
Jaden Miller brought down once again by Georgia Sally, who's having a monster game on the defensive line. Loss of 1 on the play for Miller. 22 yards now on the night for Miller, but he's had to make 11 carries to get there.
Just over 4 minutes here to go in the second quarter. NorthWood again needs to sustain a drive, come down, get a big score.
Well, the problem is if you don't and Chatard scores, then the running clock starts to set in.
And Chatard gets the ball to start the second half as well.
So Newcomer tries to turn the corner here. And he's knocked out of bounds by Wyatt Schrader. We haven't called Schrader's name a lot tonight, but Rob Doyle Sr. very high on his middle linebackers, an academic all-state player and a 3-sport athlete, and he loves the contact. He plays football, he's a wrestler, and he plays rugby in the spring.
Just a little bit of contact in those 3 sports.
Just a bit. Newcomer, 13 carries, 29 yards. It is 3rd and 6. I don't know really who was supposed to get the football there, but Newcomer has it and runs for 2. I guarantee you the play is not designed to look like that.
Yeah, we saw a lot of that last night with Edwardsburg. A little bit of fake play action, or fake to one guy, give to another guy, quick hitters up the middle. But they were able to carry out the fakes and did it really so smooth you had no idea who had the ball. That one right there just a little sloppy on their end.
4th and 4, Northwood acting as though they will go for it. There's still 12 on the play clock. Newcomer puts Miller in motion. It's Bashan Malone on the carry. He put his head down and he didn't get the first down. He stopped short at the 42-yard line, and Chatard will take over on downs and have the ball in Northwood territory.
Eastlake 24 Napanee is a full-service fitness club with 24-hour access. They never close, just $25 to enroll and only $29 a month with unlimited access to all 16 of the Eastlake and Fit Stop locations. Check them out yourself between Ace Hardware and Martin Supermarket, Eastlake 24 Napanee.
They've stopped the clock for a measurement. It's a measurement that's completely unnecessary. This ball is a good half-yard short of the chains. But we'll measure anyway.
Well, that's going to give big field position for Chatard again. 3 minutes to go here in the first half, and if they do put points on the scoreboard,
we will be in a running clock situation, which, quite frankly, Chatard faced that last week against Brebeuf. Rob Doyle told me that game was really only 2.5 quarters. The last quarter and a half was played with a running clock.
Yeah. And that's a running clock that never gets reverted back. Once you get up by that 35 points, the clock will continue to run until a timeout is called, and that's the only time, or the stop of a quarter.
And for those of you who were watching our game with Edwardsburg and Dowagiac earlier on Friday night, you saw that invoked in the late third quarter of that game. So we'll see how Chatard plays it here late in the first half with Kyle Cheek at quarterback. Cheek hands it to Dalen Taylor. This time he slammed out at the line of scrimmage. Actually, that's Darian Gilbert getting some carries, and Gilbert is tackled by Borkholder at the line of scrimmage.
When Panther fans are hungry, they go to Cook's Pizza. Whether you're hungry for pizza, chicken strips, breadsticks, breaded mushrooms, or ice cream, Cook's Pizza can feed your family or your whole team. You can also find that same great food at Jimtown Pizza in Jimtown. A big thank you to Cook's Pizza for feeding our production crew prior to tonight's game.
It's Gilbert again, this time with a little more running room. He squirts his way up to the 33-yard line before Newcomer makes the stop. He's a yard short of the first down. It'll be 3rd and 1. Northwood checking the video. It's not going to look any prettier on there, but they're trying to figure out where the breakdowns are coming.
Yeah, and you still got to make adjustments and learn. This is a great learning process and learning curve for them, and they got to overcome that because they got a game next week.
They'll play Concord next week to open up NLC play. Carry in the backfield, spinning forward. On the carry is, well, they said Gilbert here in the press box, but that wasn't Darren Gilbert. That was Wyatt Schrader on the carry, and he got the first down. Pick up a 1 on the play. Used to seeing Schrader on defense, was a little surprised to see a number 4 in there on offense.
Yeah, it was a great job by Burkholder coming in there on the backside, really getting the stop, but it was just kind of a roll forward over across his body that has allowed them to get that first down.
From the 32, Cheek puts it up off the hands of Logan O'Brien and incomplete. The tight end, you may remember, caught a pass on the first play from scrimmage for Bishop Chatard tonight.
Cheeks definitely had some guys wide open that he's kind of overthrown or thrown off target a little bit, and I'm sure Rob Doyle's going to have a talk and evaluate those plays come tomorrow.
4 for 9 for Cheek tonight so far, passing the football for 41 yards. Cheek wants to throw again. This one's complete. Thomas Coleman with the grab up at the 21-yard line. That's a first down. Pickup of 11 on the play for Coleman, and that's his first catch of the year for the junior sprinter from the track team.
Chatard trying to hurry up a little bit here. Just under a minute. Clock will start.
They still have 2 timeouts left. Cheek rolls out. Cheek fires off the hands of O'Brien. Coleman caught it out of bounds.
Second time that a plays like that's happened where it's bounced off a player and a Chatard guy has come down with it. Both times ruled incomplete.
Both times it was Coleman.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same person.
O'Brien, it would be a great volleyball set. The problem is that's not the sport tonight.
Big second down here for this Northwood defense. Really need to make another stop here.
6-year head coach.
Big sack.
6-year head coach Nate Andrews trying to encourage his defense here on 2nd and 10. Cheek on a screen pass. There's O'Brien, the tight end. Lots of blockers in front. Touchdown. Nope, down to the 2.
Great screen call. Blockers out in front. Really well designed setup play. Really run to perfection. Not much you can do about that. You can see 4 guys coming in. You just got to read that right away. Great block by the guys getting out as well.
2 catches for 35 yards tonight for O'Brien. Taylor already with 3 touchdowns tonight, but it's Gilbert in there now, and he finds the end zone untouched. And Bishop Chatard has a 40-6 lead.
Yoder Stutzman Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning has been serving Napanee and the surrounding area since 1969. They're committed to what they do and are here to serve you for their plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. Yoder Stutzman Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, building lasting solutions.
So George Forsey on to try the extra point. And if he hits this, it's the 35-point lead that sparks the running clock. Mastery in the holder. The kick is up, and it is good. And Bishop Chatard now leading Northwood by a count of 41-6. Take another look on the SBO replay at the great blocking up front being done. And that's basically the number 2 line the number 1 line that's in there. Joseph Solomon really did a great job of turning some people out, as did Jack Woodcock that time. And they opened it up very well, and Gilbert had nothing to worry about.
Definitely have an arsenal of weapons, this Chatard team. They can go to the air, then go to tight ends, wide receivers, got a couple different running backs they can go to. Cheeks at quarterback, not only can throw the ball, they can run the ball and get to the outside as well.
So George Forsey will do the kicking. The touchdown, by the way, sponsored by R&B Car Company.
We'll be getting a Bills sideline report, Bills Heating sideline report from Bill Beck coming up here at halftime. Be trying to, I believe, catch Nate Andrews before he heads off.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Be interesting if you can catch him, Bill, and see what his thoughts are on this first half, and maybe talk about some adjustments for second half.
So George Forsey puts the boot to it. High spinning kick. It'll be taken by one of the up men at the 17-yard line. And Ethan Evers is brought down at the 26. And we'll see how this officiating crew implements the running clock. Now, typically on a change of possession, you do allow the team to come out and get set. Last night at Edwardsburg, that's not how they did it.
Correct.
Nate Newcomer and the Panthers coming out. There's some confusion as to who is lining up where right now for Northwood.
J.J. Payne in the game right now, one of the freshmen. Newcomer will carry it himself, get tackled at the line of scrimmage. Now the clock is running. By the way, if you're wondering, is there a way that the coaches can waive the running clock? No, the IHSAA made it very clear in the mandate that they sent out that even if coaches want to not have that running clock going, that's the national rule you've got to abide by.
Yeah, and that's the only way to do it. I mean, if you got rules in place, you can't pick and choose how you want to enforce them in different natures. I mean, sure, there's some that penalties and things like that you can use common sense, but this one, no.
So the first half has come to an end here at Jim Andrews Field in Napanee, and the Bishop Chatard Trojans, ranked #1 in the state of Indiana, take a 41-6 lead to the locker room. Bill Beck has Nate Andrews for a Bills Heating sideline report.
Back and took it right away all the more. What do you try to do to get an adjustment here in the second half?
Well, we got to get our chins up is what we got to do, number one. I don't think we played like we're on our heels, and that's the frustrating thing. That's disappointing. We know we're playing a good opponent, but we got to get on our toes. We got to play a little tougher. We got to have a little more enthusiasm. We're all banged up now as a problem, so we got to get our daubers up, figure out how we're going to turn this around.
There you go. There you go, guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Bill. We'll stick around, everybody. Our halftime report, sponsored by Eastlake 24 in Napanee, is coming your way. Dalen Taylor with 3 touchdowns in the first half has rushed for 170 yards. And Bishop Chatard leads NorthWood 41-6 on 46.
It's halftime here at Jim Andrews Field in Napanee. Time to honor our TCU Student Athletes of the Week. They're brought to us by our friends at Teachers Credit Union, who invite you to become a member going online at tcunet.com. 2 terrific representatives of their academic and athletic institutions tonight. Thomas Hoven from Bishop Chatard High School in Indianapolis and Maddie Payne from NorthWood High School. We'll start with the visitors first. Thomas, as you can tell, football player, but he's also an outstanding track athlete and yet ranked #2 in your class. How do you balance all of that?
One thing that makes it easy to balance my athletics and academics is that I really enjoy both. So just like having a good passion for each makes it fun. My main goal every day is to get as much schoolwork done in school so I don't have to do as much at home.
And then you can enjoy a 3-day weekend like this weekend. Talk about who instilled these kind of values in you, this desire for excellence.
My parents really instilled these values in me. My dad would always tell me, oh, I never got below an A in school. And so that's always kind of been my goal, both on the field and in the classroom, just to never lose. So that's how I make my classroom experience kind of fun, competing against myself, trying to get those good grades.
Nothing like Dad putting a little bit of pressure on you either. Let's take a look at what happens after this year. Your senior year, you're going on to college. Do you know what you're going to do yet?
Not really. Sometimes you just got to live to figure it out. I think I will be okay no matter what happens. I've applied to a few schools in Indiana so far with the plan of running track at one of them.
Well, good luck to you. Best of luck in your future, and good luck tonight in the game as well.
Thank you.
Thomas Hoven from Bishop Chatard High School in Indianapolis. Over here is Maddie Payne, the Tower of Power out there on the volleyball court, as well as on Adam Yoder's girls basketball team here at NorthWood. And yet, you're doing a great job in the classroom, ranked in the top 40 of your class. So how in the world do you sort all of that out and figure out your time management?
Yeah, well, it's really important to manage your time with all the classes that I'm taking. I'm taking a lot of college level classes, so in order to get anything done, I have to manage my time. So I come home from practice, I shower, I eat dinner, and then I go straight to homework and I go to bed.
Nice to get those credits out of the way, though, early on if you can. Again, something like that just isn't innate. It doesn't come naturally. Somebody had to instill that value in it. Who was it?
My parents, for sure. They are both very hardworking and taught me everything that I know.
Now this J.J. Payne that's out on the field, what's the scouting report on him?
Yes, he's my brother. He's a freshman this year. It's definitely been interesting having him in school, but we have fun.
When you take a look at your future, what do you think you're going to do?
I want to be a nurse. I would like to specialize in pediatrics and eventually work in a children's hospital, hopefully.
I know the kids are cute and everything, but nursing is, as you probably already know, it's hard work. What made you want to do that?
I had a friend who was diagnosed with a genetic disease when he was about 5 or 6 years old, and so just seeing the progression of that and how his nurses and doctors took care of him, it really inspired me to want to do that.
Some child is going to be lucky to have you as a nurse someday. That's Madison Payne from NorthWood High School, Thomas Hoven from Bishop Chatard. They are our TCU Student Athletes of the Week, and our feature brought to us by our friends at Teachers Credit Union, who invite you to become a member and go online at tcunet.com. The halftime highlights come your way next on the 46 Game of the Week.
This edition of the TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week being brought to you by the electrical workers of Local 153. They're making our community brighter. The Northwood Red Regiment entertaining the crowd here at halftime. Crowd that could use some entertainment because they're probably a little down the mouth right now after Bishop Chatard laid 41 on them in the first half and leads it by a count of 41-6 by Chuck Freeby and Bo Hunt. I almost said Bob Nagel. I'm so used to it after 15 years. Partner, we miss you. Holding the seat down for you, but I'll tell you what, even if he were here, he couldn't help Northwood at this point. They are in a dire strait thanks to this very, very good Bishop Chatard team.
Yeah, you talked about it for the game. This is the #1 team ranked, and could they even be higher? I mean, they probably could. They could probably be ranked in Class 6A very easily.
Very good football team. Let's show you how it got to be this way here at Jim Andrews Field in Napanee. Northwood gave up a touchdown in the opening drive. Dalen Taylor punched in from 2 yards out. The Panthers couldn't get any kind of offense going, so they punted to Andrew Sawinski. And 45 yards later, he was in the end zone on the punt return. It was 14-0 at that point, or excuse me, 13-0 with a missed extra point. Taylor just ran wild in the first half, but Sawinski had a pretty good first half too with a couple of touchdowns. This one on the receiving end of a Kyle Cheek pass, but the star of the first half was Dalen Taylor. 6 carries, 170 yards. This is his second touchdown of the night here on a 78-yard run to pay dirt. Now Northwood would finally get some offense going in the second quarter. Nice pass from the newcomer to Jaden Miller here, and then Nate Newcomer will run it in for Northwood's only score of the first half. But Chatard answers. Darian Gilbert punches it in from 2 yards out. They lead it 41-6 at the intermission, and you don't have to look far on the stat sheet to understand why. 287 yards of total offense, 208 of that on the ground.
Yeah, they just did a great job of running the football and really staying with their blocks, being disciplined up front. Great first half for Bishop Chatard. Northwood, on the other hand, they had some key things. They had some guys come out, some different guys running the Wildcat and run at the quarterback positions. It'll be interesting to see what type of adjustments Nate Andrew does here in the second half with their offense.
So that'll do it for the Eastlake 24 of Napanee halftime report. Bishop Chatard leading 41-6 at the intermission. When we come back, Bill Beck will get some comments from head coach Rob Doyle, Bishop Chatard. He's got to be pleased with what he saw in the first half. This edition of the TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week being brought to you by Crown Trophy. They're nationally known and locally owned. Let's go down to the sidelines for a Bills Heating sideline report. Bill Beck, fill us in on a couple things. The thoughts of Rob Doyle and the thoughts of the officiating crew on the running clock.
I'm trying to verify the running clock thing, and I may go over here and try to grab an official here momentarily if I talk to Coach Doyle coming out. And his first thing he says, he just wants to get some kids in the game and get home healthy back to Indianapolis tonight. He liked a lot of what he did. He realizes that Northwood was giving him a lot of room and opening up a lot of space for their offensive line. They did a lot of good things. He's happy with what they did. I don't no reason to see why they wouldn't, but I'll get you something on the clock here officially, guys.
Thank you. The officials out there talking to Rob Doyle right now. For the Northwood Panthers, you heard Nate Andrews say, we have to be tougher. We have to be more aggressive here in the second half. And I think at times tonight, Bo, really from the opening kickoff, we've seen hesitation. It's a young, in spots, Northwood team.
Yeah.
Not everybody is young. Some of these guys have been through the wars before. But they have not had that typical confidence and aggressiveness that you're used to seeing from Northwood teams. Now, some of that is the caliber of the opponent you're playing, too.
Yeah, well, you made a point. I mean, they normally played Fairfield in this game of the last few years, and that hasn't been a contest at all. And they would have never found any of this stuff out. Getting your backs to the wall, how are you going to respond? How are you going to respond when your opponent is a little bit more stronger, a little bit more physical, a little bit more faster? Are you going to step your game up, or are you going to go hide in the corner? I think that's the biggest thing to take away here in the second half. And I think that's one of the things that Coach Andrews is trying to find out here. Who's going to be that captain that steps up and tries to lead this team here in the second half?
Third quarter tonight brought to us by our friends at J&N Stone, as the Northwood Panthers will be kicking off to the Bishop Chatard Trojans here to begin quarter number 3. Gerson Sanchez does the kicking for Northwood, and Andrew Sawinski, one of the deep men here for Bishop Chatard. As we mentioned earlier, Northwood will move on to Northern Lakes Conference play next week, and they will take on the Concord Minutemen. Concord taking on Elkhart Memorial tonight, and the Minutemen currently with a 17-6 lead on the Crimson Chargers in the second quarter. Also, we can tell you that Plymouth leads Kokomo 20-7. Northridge on top of St. Joe 17-3. That game is in the second quarter. Warsaw with a 17-0 lead on Michigan City in the second quarter. So Bart Curtis appears to have something going on down there in Tiger Country. And I can tell you at halftime, Elkhart Central with a 21-3 lead on Goshen. We were very impressed with the Blue Blazers last week as well.
Yeah, definitely were. And that Michigan City Warsaw, you know, we know how good Michigan City is, but you know, that Warsaw team's really come on. They come on strong at the end of the season. I did see Bill talking to the officials down there, so here after kickoff, hopefully we can get some clarification on some things with the running clock.
Sawinski takes the kickoff at his 3, and he's got a lot of running room. Gets tripped up, though, at the 22-yard line. What a terrific open field tackle that time by Northwood. Coming off the field for the Panthers and celebrating, rightfully so, is Miller, which I realize doesn't tell you that much. Joas Miller.
You mean there's more than one Miller out
There's
there?
a few here at Northwood.
3 in the starting lineup.
3 in the starting lineup, but he's not one of them.
Yep.
So you see the clock running down in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. It will be a lickety-split second half here in Napanee tonight. Cheek hands it off. Darren Gilbert is hit in the backfield by Jason Borkholder for a loss of 3 on the play. So I think one thing that Nate Andrews clearly got across to his team is, I don't care if there's a running clock or not, we're not quitting.
No, and I think that's what we talked about. One of the biggest adjustments they need to make is, and he talked about it, you know, buckle your chin straps. Well, what does buckle your chin strap mean? That means get after it. Let's go. Let's get out there. If you're going to put that helmet on, get out there and act like a football player and play like a football player.
2nd and 11. Cheek hands it off. Gilbert up the middle, spinning his way up to the 28-yard line before Jaden Miller makes the tackle. And that'll leave Bishop Chatard looking at a 3rd and 4.
Reith, Rohrer, Errett, Leanhart Funeral Homes, a legacy of helping families in our community remembered their loved ones with dignity and respect. Reith, Rohrer, Errett, Leanhart Funeral Home, a proud supporter of Northwood football. Go Panthers.
Appreciate Brant and the staff over there at Reith Rohrer helping support us tonight. Gilbert one more time, right up the middle, picks up about 3 on the play. It'll be 4th and 1. Chatard looking at the sidelines, but there will not be a punting unit coming out on the field here. They will look at going for it here on 4th and 1.
Again, you want to get your starters as much work as you can in each Friday night game. At this point, I'm sure Rob talked to his teammates or his team and told them to go out there. The first series is yours. Let's see what you can do with it.
Cheek right under center, flag thrown on the play. Gilbert gets hit hard as he gets the first down. But let's see what the flag's all about. It was thrown right as the play got underway. Clock does stop because of the penalty. It's a sideline warning against Northwood. So it's a first down for Bishop Chatard. The first down sponsored by South Bend Orthopedics. And the clock will start once again. Play clock already down to 11 as Cheek looks over things. I think you're right. The starters probably get one series here.
Yeah.
And we'll see what they make of it.
We're already down under 9 minutes in this first drive, and they've only run 4 plays in the drive.
First down completion there as the ball thrown out to Jack Ane, who makes his 3rd catch of the night. Ane with a pickup of 8 on the play. He's got 3 catches for 31 yards tonight.
It's amazing how fast a running clock actually is. We got to witness that last night, right at the end of the 3rd quarter, or the 4th quarter. Tell you what, that thing went by faster than I've ever believed it would.
It does make a difference, and it does get teams away from possibility of injury as Gilbert runs up the middle here for about 7 yards and a first down. It's sponsored by South Bend Orthopedics, and that is why the rule is in place.
Yep. And I agree with it 100%. I mean, you get to a point when you're up 35, 40, 50 points, and you know, when you're beating an opponent 70-0, 81-7, things of those nature. I mean, it's just
nobody's learning anything.
Well, and most of the time, the starters are out for the whole second half either. And it's those backups that are playing in that situation, getting some playing time, and they're going to have their JV game more than likely to play as well. So you want to make sure that's an official game, get the whole game in, but have that running clock going.
Gilbert runs for 11 yards and a first down there, sponsored by South Bend Orthopedics. And Bishop Chatard has it down to the Northwood 39-yard line. Again, running the football. They ran it for 208 in the first half, and they're racking up some yardage here. With the backup running back, the transfer from Lawrence North, Darian Gilbert. Now a throw, Ane with another catch up to the 32-yard line. Pickup of 7 on the play.
McDonald Physical Therapy understands that you need less pain, more movement, and better health. They offer the area's top physical therapists and the most up-to-date technology, water therapy, and other cutting-edge treatments to make sure you get the high-quality care you deserve. That's McDonald Physical Therapy, and they're a proud supporter of high school sports and wishes all the athletes in tonight's game the best of luck.
2nd and 3. Cheek hands it off. It's Gilbert again. It's Gilbert up the middle. It's Gilbert for a first down to the 25-yard line. Pickup of 7 on the play for the Bishop Chatard running back. Gilbert now with 12 carries for 54 yards tonight. And again, good blocking up front. Jack Woodcock, a returning starter at guard, with a good block there. And then they pulled the tight end that time. And Sam Ritchie got over there and did some damage as well. Ritchie, a 3-sport athlete. He can squat 425. It's clear this Chatard team gets into the weight room in the offseason.
Yeah, very physical up front. You can definitely see that. Running backs, what I really like about the running backs, they hit the hole north and south. We talked about that last night as well in the Edwards game, and also in the Elkhart Central game the week before about east-west versus north-south. These running backs definitely go north-south when they hit that hole.
Gilbert tackled by a newcomer that time after a pickup of 9 on the play. 2nd and 1. Chatard just erasing time off the clock here. Gilbert again on the run. This time he got up to the 25-yard line. That's good enough for or 15-yard line, excuse me. That's good enough for a Bishop Chatard first down. Sponsored by South Bend Orthopedics.
For 60 years, Imagineering Finishing Technologies has been the industry knowledge source for metal finishing solutions. They set the standard for industry, including automotive, medical, aerospace, and military defense. Go to iftworldwide.com for more info. IFT has earned national accreditation and worldwide respect. Like the teams in tonight's games, we're working for a great finish.
I think we did a Penn game one time where they had the ball an entire quarter, and that was without the benefit of a running clock. It kind of makes you appreciate how difficult that was to do, but yeah. Chatard, has taken 8 minutes off the clock here in the third, and they're looking at a 2nd and 8.
Yeah, and they're still at the 13, 14-yard line at this point. They're looking to run this whole quarter out, that's for sure.
Cheek calls the signals from the pistol. 2 receivers to each side. He's looking to throw. He's going to the end zone. Sowinski with another touchdown. Andrew Sowinski, the touchdown just inside the sideline, his 3rd of the night. And Chatard is on the board again with a touchdown sponsored by R&B Car Company. Beautiful ball thrown by Cheek here.
Great job by Cheek, hit him in the corner. Way to go. Sowinski going up for that, grabbing it with both hands going up. What a great job of coming down with it.
Not only that, but the way he turned his body then, Bo, to protect himself from newcomer trying to break up the pass.
Yeah, it was a great job of turning, getting his foot down as well. It looked like he might have got pushed out of bounds. And here's another great example of that time management. It was just under 5 minutes when he caught that touchdown. By the time they get up to kick it off, we're going to be down to under 2 minutes.
Timeout on the field, 3:10 to go in the third. 48-6 Chatard on 46. This edition of the TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week is being brought to you in part by Imagineering Finishing Technologies, the industry knowledge source for metal finishing solutions.
St. Andrews Products has joined our team with the finest in promotional products, advertising, and specialty products, business gifts, and apparel. Call 800-628-9922 or email at sales@standrewscorp.com. We'd like to really thank St. Andrews for all the great apparel, the great pullovers that we had last week, the quarter zips that we wore this week, and our jackets, especially our jackets when it gets a little bit colder. Bob comes back and I have to go back down that sideline.
Yeah, of all nights for you to be up here in the booth, a beautiful night like this.
Yeah.
So George Forsey will kick off once again, which he's had a lot of practice at tonight. High spinning kick that Ethan Evers will take back at his 6. Evers looking for some places to run and works it on out to the 22-yard line. And that's where Northwood will get its first touch of the third quarter as we go under the 3-minute mark. We kind of joked about this last night after the game with Edwardsburg and Dowagiac. Dowagiac, one of the first plays they ran after the running clock was instituted was a long pass downfield. Wound up taking a minute off the clock.
Yeah, it was a good 35, 40-yard pass down the field to the corner, a diving receiver. The ball was actually overthrown, so the ball went another about 20 yards down the field. By the time they retrieved the ball, everybody got back. It was a good minute and a half before they got the play started.
Here's the handoff to Vashon Malone. He puts his shoulder down and bowls his way out to the 31-yard line. That's a pickup of 8 on the play. Next week for the Bishop Chatard Trojans, they take on Roncalli as they begin back-to-back weeks against rivals, Roncalli and then Cathedral the following week. So whereas Rob Doyle Jr. or Rob Doyle Sr.'s team has not been tested in the first 2 weeks, you get the feeling they will be in the next 2. Here's a little shovel pass from newcomer to Jaden Miller, and Miller, that'll go down his passing yards there, gets a first down sponsored by the Jordan Automotive Group as he's run out of bounds at the 36-yard line. Remember, with the running clock, doesn't matter if you go out of bounds or not, the clock does not stop.
Yeah, and I like what Northwood's kind of working and stuff, staying with what they do best, running that off-tackle play, getting some guys in front, and really working on their basics and really trying to emphasize, hey, we got to get better at this thing, so we're going to keep doing it, going over and over and over each play and trying to make perfection out of it.
Newcomer working from the shotgun. Hands it off, and the attempt to run upfield by Mestock is thwarted as Bishop Chatard was there. See, that's what happens. I start looking at all those Catholic schools in Indianapolis.
Yep.
And the confusion sets in. It's Joey Thatcher on the stop that time, the 6', 195-pound junior.
The defensive line for Chatard has just been phenomenal. just really not given any ground. Northwood hasn't been able to blow them off the ball at all. In fact, Chatard's really blowing them off the ball.
If you were to have a defensive player of the game for Chatard tonight, it would have been Georgia Sally. I must have called his name about 6 times, and that's not frequent for a defensive tackle, but that's the kind of game he had. The pass interference will be called here against Bishop Chatard.
Looked like he might have had roughing the passer, another one in the backfield as well.
Clock continues to run, so they will sort this out here as we end the third quarter, and we'll see exactly what the calls are. Actually, they did stop the clock with 6.9 to go here in the third. As you see, the contact was made well before the ball arrived. Matthew Coons guilty of the violation there. And we'll see if it winds up being 2 penalties, if there's a roughing the passer and a pass interference added here. There you see the pass interference call. And there's the roughing the passer. So good eyes there, Bo. That's 30 yards in penalties, and that'll move it all the way down from the NorthWood 35 to the Chatard 35. Well, they spotted at the 50. Apparently you only get 1.
Yeah, but
because roughing the passer wasn't a dead ball foul. It was still during the play.
It wasn't after the play was blown dead. Yeah, it was during the play. If it was a personal foul after the play,
right,
then they could have accepted that as well.
So Northwood will get one last playoff here in the third quarter as Newcomer runs it up the middle, gets tripped up for about a 1-yard gain. And we have 3 quarters in the books at Jim Anders Field in Napanee, with Northwood trailing Bishop Chatard 48-6 on 46. This edition of the TV 46 High School Football Game of the Week is being brought to you by Bill's Heating, keeping families and businesses comfortable since 1951. Speaking of Bill's Heating, sideline report. Bill Beck's got a special guest.
Last time these two teams met, 7-0 in the Dome. That was 14 years ago. Rich Dodson was the head coach. And Coach, you're here watching this game. Outcomes taken care of. We know what's going to happen here. But for the Northwood Panthers moving forward when they start their conference season, what do you see out of this team moving forward?
Well, you know, I see a lot of young men figuring out the level you got to play at to be that exceptional football team. And a lot of the young kids will be growing up because of this game, and I think it'll take some of the edge off of them when they get into the meat of their schedule, where they know that they have to bring their game up another level.
And real quickly, what do you think of what you've seen out of the Chatard team, especially in that first half?
Well, they're a very quick football team. They're very quick on defense, and they obviously have a good balance of run and pass. 2 exceptional running backs and a quarterback that gets it out to some kids that are very good receivers. You know, as far as the physicality of them, you know, I don't think they are more physical than maybe some of the other Chatard teams, but they make you play the whole field.
Coach, I appreciate your time. There you have it, guys, from one of the Hall of Famers, one of the greats of Elkhart County, Rich Dodson.
Always great to see Rich, the state championship coach. His nephew, Brock, coaching over at Bishop Chatard now as an assistant.
Another first down by Northwood. A reminder, our first downs for both teams tonight brought to you by South Bend Orthopedics and Jordan Automotive Group.
Well, you can chalk up another one for Northwood here as Jaden Miller on the carry takes it all the way down to the 16-yard line. As you get another look at this one on the South Bend Orthopedic replay, some pretty good blocking by the offensive line that time.
Yeah, definitely great blocking. Another reminder, our 4-quarter sponsors, J&N Stone. I'd like to thank them for sponsoring all 4 quarters, and this 4th one's going to be a quick one as well.
Jack and Nadine do such a wonderful job here in the Wauwnee community. Great sponsor of the Little League up there at Wakarusa. Inside handoff goes to Miller. Miller trying to pop it to the outside, and he's dragged down on a terrific tackle that time by our student athlete of the week, Thomas Hoven.
Nice job by Thomas. Coming around there, Jaden Miller coming in the backfield there. Nice little end around. Good play, good pickup, close to another first down.
2nd and 1. Don't believe the scoreboard that said 4th and 73 a moment ago. Ten minutes to go in the contest. Chatard up 48-6. Newcomer with Eddie Hildebrandt to his side. Newcomer up the middle. He got the first down. Can't quite get into the end zone. He's stopped at the 2-yard line. Another first down sponsored by the Jordan Automotive Group. Newcomer trying to get the team set quickly here. Newcomer off the right side has the touchdown for Northwood. It's sponsored by TCU. Nate Newcomer with his second touchdown of the night, and the Panther students who have stuck around have something to cheer about.
Yeah, that's one of the big things we were just talking about at break was the amount of support that's here in the stands this late in the game with this score. They're still out here, they're cheering, they're rooting on their kids, their classmates, and good support out here and a good turnout for this crowd.
Miller, Hildebrandt, and Joe Newcomer leading the blocking that time for Nate Newcomer. Joe and Nate are cousins, by the way. Northwood will go for 2. Nate Newcomer wants to throw. He's rolling out. He's going to flip it into the end zone, and Borkholder, did he keep his feet in? Yes, that's a nice little play.
That's a good 2-point conversion.
Newcomer to Borkholder for the 2-pointer. And it's a 48-14 game.
Looks like he almost stepped out right. That step before that, great job.
8:39 to go in the contest. Back with more after this. This edition of the TV46 High School Football Game of the Week being brought to you in part by the Indiana High School Athletic Association, partnering with TV46 for 30 years. Thanks to the boys in the truck for giving me another shot at that one.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a better read on that one. Yoder Stutzman Plumbing, Heating, and AC. I'd like to thank them for their sponsor on the kicks tonight as Northwood gets ready to kick off. Onside kick here, or do you think they just kick it away?
I think when you got the running clock situations, I realize it's a time to work on everything.
Yes, yeah.
But I'm not sure the onside kick would be considered kosher. I don't know what the unwritten rules of football are, like baseball.
Yeah, I mean it's not like they're gonna, if they don't convert it, throw the next pass at their head, or something like that, like they would in a baseball game. But yeah, it'll be interesting here. I mean, yeah, definitely you would like to work a little bit more on offense, but at this point, you kick it off and maybe you don't get the ball back at all at that point.
There you see the deep men. Matthew Coons closest to your screen right there. As Gerson Sanchez gets ready to put the boot to it. 48-14 in favor of Chatard with 8:39 left on the clock. Straight down the middle kick that Coons will field at his 7. Northwood trying to break through the wedge. Coons to the right side, run out of bounds at the 35-yard line. And it'll be 1st and 10 for the Trojans from there, and the clock continues to tick, and we'll see. I have the feeling we've seen the last of the number 1s in this game.
Yeah, I don't see Cheeks out there. No, Taylor.
Jalen Taylor has not been out here for the second half, and there would be no reason to have him out there. The only number 9 we have on our roster is Kyle Haslett. So we will assume that is him lining up at quarterback right now. 6'1", 190-pounder. People getting set in the backfield. Handoff, nobody there. And
you normally see that when you get in for your first varsity action.
So
as a non-starter, I should say.
It's actually Carter St. John wearing number 9 tonight. And so Carter St. John, who is listed as the backup quarterback and looks a little bit more like the numbers we have for him, 5'11", 170, babyface sophomore. That'll pass for that. So St. John loses 1 on the play. He'll hand it off here. And that's Tommy Hannon on the carry. So it'll be 3rd and 10. Borkholder on the tackle as we have 6:50 to go in the game.
Northwood's defense still trying to work out some kinks as well as their most of their starters are still in there.
St. John throws one out in the flat. It was a dangerous pass, but they got away with it as Jackson Bolin makes the grab. Just a 5'8", 175-pound wide receiver. Takes it up to the 42-yard line. It'll be 4th and 1. You take a look at Vashon Malone and the rest of this Northwood defense. Noah Blosser out there wearing the 46, and it looks like Chatard will punt for the first time tonight to give Jack and A a little work on this, which isn't a bad idea.
Yeah, definitely have to work on your punting game a little bit. The wind's died down a little bit.
But Chatard only has 9 people on the field, and so Rob Doyle's got to use a timeout here, even though he would prefer not to, with 5:53 to go.
That might be one of those situations where you just go ahead, take the 5-yard penalty on the delay of game, get your guy out there, and then go ahead and punt it so the clock continues to run in that situation.
College football comes your way Saturday at noon on Pulse FM. Your home of the Hoosiers has Indiana taking on Ball State in the season opener down at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. The Hoosiers have opted to go with Michael Penix as the quarterback this year. We'll see if that's a high risk or high reward move for Tom Allen and IU. Taking on the Cardinals. Chirp, chirp, Saturday at noon on Pulse FM.
Should be a good game. Ball State gave Notre Dame all they could handle.
Oh.
Okay. Did they not? Did they not?
It was closer than most people thought it would
be.
Let's put it that way. I think Ball State, after that game, though, was kind of a disappointment.
They were,
last
yeah.
year.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. Being somebody who went to Ball State, I have some opinion on them.
I'm sure you do.
Worthwhile.
I'm sure you have not been shy about sharing said opinion.
Mike New actually was the quarterback when I was there.
Did he ever give you the ball?
Well, when I would play defense, then no. I mean, so.
Jack and A with the punt. It's a dandy, hanging up there high in the Napanee night. It takes a Chatard roll and is down at the 23-yard line. And that's where Northwood will take over 1st and 10. And of course, the Panthers have to hustle their people out there because the clock continues to tick.
Tick, 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 tick.
Bill Beck, you live down in Texas now, and you do some freelance work for a newspaper down in Texas covering high school sports. What do you think of this running clock rule?
I've always wondered why we didn't have it sooner than we've had it. Michigan's had it for a long time.
Yes, they
have.
have.
The first time that I saw it back in the 80s and 90s when like White Pigeon and Schoolcraft and some of those schools, Constantine, were dominant teams and running up big numbers. They had it where the clock would revert back if you eclipsed underneath 35 points. This all or nothing thing, I'm still kind of up in the air on that one personally, guys. I like the mercy rule. I'm not sure if I like it the all-inclusive like this.
Here's a little shovel pass going to Jaden Miller, and look at him go. Miller in the open field. No, that's Kyle Sellers, excuse me. Kyle Sellers.
He's going the distance.
Kyle Sellers, touchdown, Northwood. 79 yards, no flags. What a little shovel pass to Sellers, and he did the rest. He's had a nice night.
Oh, what a great job by Kyle Sellers on that little pitch sweep. Great job. Scored, sponsored by TCU. We'd like to thank TCU.net. Sponsoring the Northwood scores tonight. Sellers on the big run.
Person Sanchez on to try the extra point. Sellers has to get the heart rate down to do the hold. He put it down, kick is up and good. And with 3:41 to go in the contest, Northwood has narrowed the gap to 48-21. Look at the job done by Sellers here. And
showing some speed, too.
Tell you what, it almost made me bring back the call, bobbing, weaving, even, leaving.
Great job, really keeping his balance all the way through that run. I mean, that was really a fantastic run. Seen a lot of highlights from his brothers over the years and just joining in the family tradition.
Well, the family has had a rough time of
Yeah.
it lately. The matriarch, Kim Sellers, has been fighting cancer, and she's kind of in between treatments right now. She just got done with a long series of chemotherapy treatments, and we wish the Sellers family nothing but the best. They've been in a lot of prayers around the Wakarusa Napanee area, but that's got to put a smile on her face.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I was talking to Norm earlier, and he said Kim was going to be here tonight, and so if she was, I really hope she was able to see that live and see her son out there do that, have that run. What a fantastic run he had.
So Herson Sanchez will kick it off again with Northwood down 48-21. Now, some of you might be saying, well, now it's under 35 points. Will the clock go back to normal? No. Once the running clock is invoked, it stays.
This kick sponsored by Yoder Stutzman Plumbing, Heating, and AC.
And they will pop up this one a little bit, and it's fielded by Chatard at the 34-yard line and brought down there by Sam Ritchie. And so Chatard will take over 1st and 10 at their own 34.
After the kick, the clock does start, and now it starts to run, and this probably should be it, this series right here.
Number 2s will get another shot at it here for Chatard.
Any thoughts on player of the game there, Chuck?
I got to go with Dalen Taylor.
Taylor?
6 carries, 170 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So every other time they touched the football, he scored.
Yeah, Sawinski had a great game as well. 3 touchdowns out of him, a punt return for a touchdown. But the explosiveness that Taylor had, I think, was just unbelievable.
Nice tackle right there by the freshman Ben Fatarusso after a 4-yard pickup for Bishop Chatard. Carter St. John, the 5'11" sophomore, in a quarterback right now, wearing number 9 tonight. There you see him. Northwood will more than likely drop in the polls. They were number 4 this week, and Nate Andrews would tell you the polls don't really matter to him. He is more worried about pushing his team forward and turning them around in time to face a solid Concord team next week. Meanwhile, Andre Moore on the carry there for a couple of yards. It'll be 3rd down.
Yeah, I mean, they got a good Concord team that they need to face next week and prepare for them and get ready for that. Polls or whatever, like we said, Bishop Chatard number 1 in 3A, but again, they could probably be number 1 in 5 or even 6A at this point.
I don't know about 6A, but actually 5A is very competitive this year. But I would take, if Bishop Chatard were playing Marion from down in Marion, Indiana,
for the 4A,
I would take Chatard in that game.
Yeah.
Good popping going on by Northwood here on the carry by Chatard, as that time it was Tanner Quackenbush with the carry. And coming in to make the stop for Northwood was C.J. Kuhn, another freshman. Northwood, you look at this varsity roster. I've never seen a Northwood varsity roster with this many freshmen on it, but Nate Andrews lists everybody on the roster, whether they're considered varsity or JV. Timeout taken by Chatard with 1:17 to go.
Yeah, and that's one thing we talked about, not just at Northwood, but throughout the whole area, including probably most of Indiana as well, and Midwest and all across the United States, is the numbers in football have dropped a little bit. Not just at the high school level, but they have started to at the lower levels as well. Junior, Pop Warner, middle school as well.
Well, we've got a big rivalry game for you next Friday night on TV 46. It's the renewal of the Holy War over at Atulski Field in Mishawaka. The St. Joe Indians, who trail Northridge tonight 17-3, take on the Marion Knights. Marion having its way with John Glenn up 42-7 in the 4th in that one. So Michael Davidson's team will be 2-0, likely still ranked in the top 10, and St. Joe will be 0-2, and it won't matter a bit when those two teams get together.
No, it won't. And St. Joe's played 2 pretty tough quality teams their first 2 games. It looks like they're going to come out on the wrong end on both of them. The first one against Northridge, and then this one as well. So
high snap to Jack Ane, the punter, and Ane has to kind of go off the side of his foot here, but that may not be the worst thing in the world. It rolls around a little bit more that way, and 38-yard line is where Northwood will take over with a minute left. They're going to have to sprint onto the field here if they're going to get this play off.
Yeah, not sure. They're still talking in the huddle. They might get one play off here.
So the Bishop Chatard Trojans will go to 2-0 on the year. Northwood will drop to 1-1 on the season, and Northwood putting some of its number 2 unit out there so that those guys can qualify for letter. Caden Lone getting some time here to get a snap against the Trojans with less than 30 seconds on the clock now. Lone tucks it away, trying to carry it down the field. He stopped at the 47-yard line on a fine tackle there for Bishop Chatard by Jack Dene. And this ball game is over. The Bishop Chatard Trojans have beaten the Northwood Panthers. The final score tonight at Jim Andrews Field in Napanee, 48-21. Now stick around. We've got post-game coverage coming up on the R. Yoder Construction post-game show. We'll have our IU South Bend Fulfilling the Promise Player of the Game and our IBEW Electrifying Player of the Game. It's all next on the 46 Game of the Week.
Watching the WHME TV 46 High School Game of the Week, brought to you by
Welcome everybody to the R. Yoder Construction post-game show after Bishop Chatard came into Napanee tonight and beat the Northwood Panthers, ranked number 4 in Class 4A, by a count of 48-21. Chatard ranked number 1 in Class 3A, and certainly deservedly so. Chuck Freeby and Bo Hunt high above Jim Andrews Field. You got to be impressed with the Trojans.
I definitely am. I'm glad we were able to come tonight and watch them play. Northwood, good ball club, have a long ways to go, but at least they got tested. They know where they're at the beginning of the year versus at the end of the year in a loss in the playoffs.
I doubt the Panthers will see another running back as good as the one they saw tonight. Dalen Taylor, 6 carries, 170 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He is our IU South Bend Fulfilling the Promise Player of the Game, standing by now with Bill Beck.
We're here with our player of the game, Dalen Taylor of Chatard, 3 touchdowns, just on 6 carries, 178 yards tonight. What did you like about the way your offensive line did work tonight?
Hey, we were just playing physical up front. They were just burying them, doing a great job, fundamentals. All that was just great tonight.
You got a nice long trip, a new team you got to play, but you got some familiar foes next couple of weeks in Roncalli and Cathedral. Tell me about getting ready to play for those 2 guys.
It's a rivalry game. We're pumped for it. We love going against the guys. They're going to play hard.
Hey, that's our player of the game, Dalen Taylor of Indianapolis Chatard.
All right, thank you very much, Bill. Appreciate you helping us out tonight. Nate Andrews talking to his team, trying to build them up as they get ready for Concord next week. Another area they'll have to improve is special teams. That's where our electrifying play of the game came from tonight. It's sponsored by the Electrical Workers of Local 153, one of Andrew Sawinski's 3 touchdowns on the night.
What a great job. This really sparked their offense as well. He caught the long punt, was able to come up, make a couple cuts, and with his speed, he was able to bust to the outside, and he was gone. Really untouched with just a couple arm tackles.
Sawinski also with 2 touchdown receptions to go with that 45-yard punt return. So Bishop Chatard takes on Roncalli next week. We already told you Northwood has Concord and NLC action, and we'll be at the Holy War as St. Joe takes on Marion.
Great game.
For Bo Hunt, Chuck Freeby, and our entire 46 crew, our thanks to you for watching this one tonight from Napanee. We remind you that we've got football on the radio on Saturday as well. College football, the Indiana Hoosiers venture to Lucas Oil Stadium to take on the Ball State Cardinals in the renewal of that rivalry. We've got the pregame coverage at 11 in the morning and kickoff with Don Fisher on the call at noon. And then, as we told you, next Friday night from Atulski Field, St. Joe and Marion in the renewal of the Holy War. Now, for my broadcast partners, Hall of Famers, Bill Beck and Bo Hunt, it's Chuck Freeby. And a reminder, you can follow us on social media at 46 Sports on Twitter or the WHME 46 Sports Facebook page. Once again, the final score from Napanee's Jim Andrews Field. The Chatard Trojans 48, the Northwood Panthers 21. Chuck Freeby bidding you a fond farewell from the skyline of Napanee.